Hey guys, welcome back to Dorkforge. My name's Paul and we're back today with another build. Today's build was inspired by the art you see on screen, made by friend of the Forge, Daniel Denova. Now there'll be a link to his ArtStation page in the comments and I highly recommend you check him out. He does great D&D related work. He's even done some stuff for Critical Role and people like that. It's really awesome stuff to check out and maybe even get yourself a print. Certainly look cool hanging on your wall. But I saw this and I was instantly, inspired. Like I wanted to do something with a tabaxi that dual wielded, and so that's how we got here today. A very painful, for some of you, experience with plenty of cat puns, as we do for Furry. Say it fast, it's difficult. The Sword Bard. So this is going to be a mix of Bard College of Swords and Rogue Swashbuckler, so we can maximise on that charisma and also give us the mobility that cats kind of evoke. So hopefully by the end of this build you'll more end up looking like that badass on screen and, well, less like this guy. Although if in the game you do fail an acrobatics check somehow and you fall, you must stand up and look like nothing happened and nobody saw it. But back to the build. So we are going to be sticking to the artwork itself, which is a very well-dressed, dual-wielding tabaxi, and we're also going to try and stick to the lore of the tabaxi as we get in Volo's guide. And that's really saying how they like to tell stories, how they are stereotypically a little bit sticky bored. And that really is kind of like a prevailing thing about catfolk, I think, between tabaxi and Khajiit in the Elder Scrolls series. They do tend to have a mine kind of mentality. So, highlights of the build: you're going to be very hard to hit. You're going to be able to get into combat, make an attack, and just get right back out. And if somebody does actually get to you to make an attack, chances are, as long as you've had the chance to act first, you're going to have a pretty decent AC to avoid it, as well as some other defensive measures if necessary. It's going to be a very versatile build, both in terms of combat. You're going to have the option of casting, bard spells, which is a lot of buffs, debuffs, that kind of thing, some healing magic. You're going to be able to dish out a decent amount of damage with your swords, and then out of combat you're going to have, not quite all, but you're going to have a lot of skills, and you're also going to have quite a few expertise. So, our go-to strategy is to capitalize on the movement speed. Now Sword Bard does give us an extra 10 feet when we take an attack action, and Swashbuckler allows us to gain the advantage of the disengage action, essentially. When we make an attack, you don't have to hit, just make an attack against a creature. So we essentially get, between those two things, mobile for free. So we're going to go in, slash a few times, and get back out. Now, as long as you've got Bardic Inspiration die to spend, you can use your flourishes, and defensive flourishes. It's a personal favourite of mine and the one that I would recommend using most of the time, just because you get to drop an extra die of damage and you get to also crank your AC right up, potentially well beyond what something like Shield could give you. And on top of all that, if somebody is seriously hurt, getting a bit low on HP, or even if they drop, you can just trade your bonus action sword attack for a healing word. Healing Word only has a vocal component, which means that you can cast it without being hindered. And as a College of Swords Bard, you can use a weapon that you are proficient with as a spellcasting focus. You can actually cast spells that have a material component whilst dual wielding. You don't need Warcaster or anything like that. And Warcaster might be worth looking at if you get a free feat from your DM, but I personally don't think it's really worth it for this build. We are really capitalising on specifically the attack action, and if we started using, cantrips and spells as our main thing, so that we would also take advantage of it for our attacks opportunity, we wouldn't really get as much out of it, and I just don't think it's necessary for this build. You're not going to be doing as much spellcasting as a normal bard would, but even if you did, the swords don't really interfere that much, and you can always just interact with an object or stow one to cast your spell. So, taking a look at the damage at 10th level, it's going to be, well, not too shabby. You're going to get 5d6 from a mixture of sneak and your short swords, plus 15 from your modifiers, and a d8 from your Bardic Inspiration for an average damage of 40, assuming all 3 hit. That's not bad at all, seeing as we're not really focused on damage. And it's also pretty good, seeing as that flourish for that extra d8 is going to give us a bonus effect, most likely cranking up our AC. So, obviously we're going to be at Tabaxi. This snip is for chickendinner.com. It's a 5e point buy calculator. It is an exceptional tool, and I'll try and remember to pop a link to that in the description for y'all. So, we're going to dump strength because we have no need for it, and unless you are a strength-based build, I would always do this really. Strength is just not really that needed in 5e. So we're going to start off with a +3 to Dex, +1 to Constitution, which isn't great, but we have other defensive measures, and it's still a decent amount of HP. Remember, our hit die is still a D8, we don't have any D6 levels in there. A nice average intelligence of 0, +1 to our Wisdom, and a +3 to our Charisma to start off. Now as Tabaxi, we're going to get the Feline Agility ability, which is going to let us double our speed, and as we're going to have rogue levels, you could potentially double dash, and then double that already quadrupled speed. And there's no penalty that you can do that as many times as you want. The only thing is that to recharge the ability, you have to not move for a turn, which is a wonderful trade-off. We're going to racially get Perception, Stealth, and Dark Vision, which when you combine that with our 20-foot climb speed is going to make us a really good stereotypical cat burglar. On top of that, I haven't really made note of it here because I didn't think it was really necessary, but you do also get to use your claws as a D4 slashing weapon for unarmed attacks. If you have to, great, but unarmed attacks by standard require strength. So better than nothing, but if you have to resort to your claws, then bad things have happened. So skill-wise, so we're going to get Tabaxi, Stealth and Perception. From Bard, I recommend Acrobatics, Investigation and Persuasion. You're going to get 3 instruments of your choice as well, pick whatever you like. When we multiclass into Rogue, we're going to get an extra one, and I recommend Athletics to plug up that -1. And between Acrobatics and Athletics, high movement speed and high dex, we're going to really be that parkoury ninja-y kind of cat burglar. We're going to get Deception, Sleight of Hand, and Disguise and Forgery kits from our Charlatan background, just because of all the backgrounds, it seemed like the most fitting thing for a Tabaxi. You're this wandering, charming, charismatic character that has a tendency to spin a yarn, bat a yarn, and then steal said yarn. So, Charlatan, out of all the backgrounds, just felt right to me, and it also gives us some relevant and pretty useful proficiencies. Spell-wise, I haven't recommended a great deal of spells. Whilst we are a lot of a full caster, we're really going for the martial feel. So Healing Word, an excellent healing spell. I personally don't like the strategy of yo-yoing people. I don't think that is very roleplay friendly, really, waiting for somebody to be dying before you heal them, and I also don't like it as a mechanical thing as a player. But Healing Word is still great because it's bonus action, we can still do wield, and it's ranged. Light, it's very useful because even with Dark Vision you will have disadvantage on perception checks in the dark, and it's a cheap way to give us those cool glowing swords from the picture. And I mean, come on, they're pretty cool. Unseen Servant, I just think this is a really fun spell, and if you get creative with it, it can be really fun and quite potent. You essentially have an invisible servant that is not bound by a lot of the constraints of a human servant, or whatever-ish servant. Blindness, Deafness. Now, you can cast this. It's only got a vocal component, which I was surprised by actually. But you can cast this with both swords in your hands, and it is a major debuff to the enemy that's going to help everyone in the party. And then I do strongly recommend that you take Shatter, just because it's nice to have a AoE range spell. Catnap is really useful because your Bardic Inspiration as a 5th level will become a short rest mechanic, but to be honest, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't put this in here, at least partially because the spell is called Catnap and you're a cat person. I'm not proud of that, but neither am I ashamed. So, level progression and play advice. So, 1 to 5, we're going to go straight bad, and we're going to pick up College of Swords. So, first level, we're going to go with 2 short swords, and we're going to 2 weapon fight. Level 2, we're going to get Jack of all trades. Just going to go to our initiative as well, it's worth noting. We're going to get to Skill Monkey a bit more, and Song of Rest to boost our short rest healing. So, level 3, it's time to go off to college. We're going to pick up 2 weapon fighting as our style. So we can add that dexterity modifier to our offhand weapon, and we're going to pick up flourishes. Now, we also get expertise. I would recommend expertise in stealth acrobatics personally, but that's really more how you would like to play the character, what you feel you need that extra bump in. Excuse me. So for our first ASI, we're going to pump dex up to a +4. And that's going to affect our attack, damage, initiative, and our AC. Level 5, we're going to get our Bardic Inspiration up to a D8, and it becomes a short rest replenishing resource. So we can flourish as much as we like, up to 4 times per short rest. Level 6, we're going to jump into Rogue. We're going to get Thieves' Tools and Athletic proficiencies. We're going to get 2 more expertise. I do recommend Thieves' Tools, just because it really sucks to fail picking a lock with stabbing a trap. And whatever else you want. You can go for athletics if you want to double down on the whole ninja thing, but a lot of the time athletics and acrobatics are somewhat interchangeable, and I feel like having proficiency in it is enough. We're going to get a d6 of sneak attack for a bit of extra damage as well. Now, second level of Rogue for our level 7 overall, we're going to get Cunning Action, so we can dash, disengage, or hide as bonus action, which can certainly come in handy. Level 8, we're going to get another d6 of Sneak Attack, and we're going to take Swashbuckler as our rogue archetype. So we're going to get our initiative up to a +8 as we add our charisma to it. We're going to be able to get the benefit of disengaging against a creature we attack. So we're going to get that free mobile feat, essentially when we hit level 8. And we're going to get another way to trigger our sneak attack from a Swashbuckler as well. Level 9 we're going to get our second ASI, it's only 1 level off. So I would recommend either maxing Dex or picking up Dual Wielder. Dual Wielder is going to make it a bit more mechanically friendly. To dual wield, we can draw both swords at the same time, and we can go up to rapiers, even though it might seem a little silly, just to get our D8 weapon die, and we're also going to boost our AC by 1, just for having both swords out. Level 10 we're going to get extra attack. Now this is admittedly quite late for extra attack, but we've been 2 weapon fighting anyway, and we have had sneak attack for a few levels now to boost our damage, plus flourishes, so it is a bit late for extra attack, but this wasn't intended to be the most optimized of melee damage builds. It's meant to be fun and thematic, and I think everything else offsets getting extra attack a bit late. You do also get counter charm, situational, but it could come in handy. Now this is as far as I've actually taken the build. I feel like level 10 is enough to encapsulate the concept. I have some general advice at the end here. So I would go further into Bard at least enough to get another ASI and 4th level spells. Greater invisibility is awesome. Maybe you want polymorph, but I'm not a huge fan of it myself. Once you've got your dex maxed, you should max out your charisma, get more Bardic Inspiration for your flourishes, crank that initiative higher, higher save DCs, and more healing on Healing Word. Basically, just max out dex and charisma, and then after that, if you have an ASI free, really take whatever you want. Inspiring Leader would be a good feat as a charisma heavy character. Give the entire party plus any allies you might have with you a nice boost. So, this has been Furry the Sword Bard. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. It's meant to be more of a fun little build, something you can enjoy in and out of combat. And, well, I'd say it's just meant to be a bit of fun. Now, I just would like to take a second to say thank you guys for supporting the channel. We have gained relatively, we are still really small, but we have gained relatively quite a lot of subscribers recently. I believe as of recording this video we're at 52, and that's a little crazy to think that, so many of you actually are interested in hearing me ramble about this stuff enough that you subscribe to us. But hopefully you continue to enjoy our work. If you have any suggestions for any future builds or challenges, if you have any comments or would you have done anything differently with this build, then please pop that down in the comment section below. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and then the bell button. And if you liked the video, give us a like. Now, we do consider 50 subscribers a bit of a milestone, so look out as we will be doing a bit of a giveaway for that, just to say thank you for everyone supporting us. But that's it for now. So my name's Paul, this has been Dogforge. Remember to check out Daniel, some fantastic art, and we will see you next time.